Hi, I'm Trey and welcome to one of my colouring videos. In this video I'm doing a pencil review, and I don't do many reviews, but I tend to wait until I've used the pencils for quite a long time before I consider it. Now this brand of pencil is a budget pencil called Cadrim, and I've been using them for quite a few months now, so I feel I know enough about them, how I use them, to be able to pass on my thoughts and experiences with them. Now I always take my pencils out of the tins that they come in and put them in cases. I find the cases a lot better for keeping them protected and helping them not get broken, and for organising them as well. Now these pencils came in a tin, and I took them out the tin and put them in this case, this 72 set. I organise them in a way that I can follow, so I didn't necessarily put them into this case the way it came out of the tin. The pencils are, I would say, wax pencils, hardcore rather than soft. They have a number on the end of them, they don't have a name, and the colour at the tips are not too far out from the actual lead of the pencil, so I'm quite pleased about that. I always do a swatch of these, of all my pencils, to be honest, just to help me pick my colours. Now this is the swatch of these pencils, and there are a few yellows, some very similar, especially these two here I think are very similar. Then it goes, I've ordered them into the oranges. There's only one what I would call pinkish red. So that's a bit of a shame really, and I would like to have had a much paler orange. Then we go into the peach and skin tones, which aren't too bad for a budget pencil. There's quite a few there. Lots of browns, plenty of blues, and then go into loads of greens. The purples are quite nice, though I would have liked some more paler purples. And not a lot of greys and blacks, but that doesn't matter for me because I don't use those a lot. So the selection is quite good, considering again that they are a budget pencil. Now I also think that these pencils are quite pigmented. As you can see, they are quite deep colours, and this isn't a lot of pressure on this swatch. I actually use like thick card to keep mine, so I'm quite pleased with the pigment with these pencils. Now the colours I'm going to be practicing with on this demonstration and review are colours I'm actually using on a project at the moment using these pencils. So I've got three greens, pale green, medium green and dark green. These are like a turquoisey green. So I will do that first. I always start with my lightest colour. Just going to use light pressure. They sharpen quite well, but they are harder core, so they tend to be more forgiving when it comes to sharpening harder core pencils. I would say the harder core wax pencil. The darker colours are quite pigmented, which I like. Considering the budget pencils, I think that's good. And like I said, I think the lead and the tips are quite close as well. There's not many, I would say, are that far out, which again is quite good for a budget pencil. I find these really nice for doing small areas, and so I tend to combine them with a softer core pencil in the project. So yes, so the transition between one colour and the other is quite nice, and I think it's quite satisfying combination. Quite nice, these three colours. So yes, that's an example of that one. I'm going to try some yellows now. Orange, I'm using an orange, a pinky red and a yellow as a different kind of combination to see how three quite different colours combine together. So I'm going to use the yellow first, because I like to use a different combination of colours for highlights. And then it's almost like a medium orange, quite a dark pigmented colour, that one. And this is like a pinky red. Let's see how this looks. That complements quite nicely actually. It was almost like a brownish red, I would say that is. And it complements that orange really nice. Darkness it in nicely, because I'm always looking for combinations of colours for doing my lights and my shadows. So I mean, quite often I stay in the same colour range, but sometimes I like to step out of that. A bit of a challenge, and these three colours work quite nicely together. Now the yellow and the orange, the transition is not as smooth, I don't think. However, I would say the orange and the brown, the reddish brown, works better than transition. So that's quite nice. Now I have to use a light pressure, otherwise I won't get many layers down, so I have to be aware of that. But again, like I said, these are budget pencils. Now I repeated those layers for those pencils to be able to do a blending test, and I've done 4 layers for each section. I'm going to try using different ways to blend, well, the kind of ways I use to blend. Now one of the ways I use to blend is the white pencil within that set. So this is the white Cadrim pencil, and I'm going to see if these will blend together. Now I'm just using light pressure. And these are quite a hard pencil, so I would say that it isn't something I would use with this set, the white pencil. It's not really doing anything. It's just sliding off the top of it, because I'm getting to the point where I can't get many more layers down for these pencils. So let's wipe that off. I'll try that with the contrasts and colours. Yeah, pretty much the same really. They're not really doing any benefits really. You're using the white pencil, so I wouldn't say the white pencil is that useful really for blending. Now I'm going to try my colourless blender. I use the Polycolour one, Koh-i-Noor. Well, I've used these with a few other brands, and I find them quite useful, you know, especially for small areas. So I'll try the complementary greens first. Again, using light pressure. See if it smooths this out at all. Well, it's working a little bit better. But not as good as this works with softer colour, I must be honest. It's a little bit better. Let's try with the contrasts and colours. Yeah, about the same. It's smoothed it out slightly, but not by much. So now I'm going to try the oils that I normally use, and one's baby oil, a cheap solution to use, and I'll do that one first. I tend to use these pencils for doing large areas as well, to save on my more expensive ones. So I haven't got a lot of baby oil on the cotton bud, just a little bit. Starting from the lighter colour, I will just lightly well, that's not too bad really. For a budget pencil, it's not too bad at all. Slightly smoother, but I've noticed the lighter colours, they're kind of like going right through to the paper. But the darker colours were better. So let's try the contrasting colours with the baby oil again, just a little bit, not a lot. Not as smooth as the greens, so it's not really something that's going to work very well with contrasting colours. So now I'm going to try the zest. Now I must be honest, the zest is the one I tend to use for big areas if I want a smooth finish. It works quite well with my soft core pencils. So let's see how it works with these budget pencils. So just a little bit, and I'll dab it off. Try the greens first. I tend to find though with the zest I need a good few layers, and I can only get that down really with the soft core pencils. The harder, more budget pencils, you struggle to get the layers down. Well, it's done okay with the darker colours, but the lighter colour, not really. Now I'll try the contrast. With the zest. Let's put a little bit on. And again, with the darker colours, it's worked better than the lighter colours. But out of all of the blending for the contrast and combination, that's worked the best with the zest. Now, just out of interest, I'm going to see if I can put, for the baby oil and the zest, another layer down. I tend to not be able to with the blender pencil and the white, but I quite often can with my soft pencils. With the solution, so I'll try that. Try with the baby oil first and the greens. The darker colours are going down better, I think, another layer down. Not so much the lighter colours. With the baby oil. So, yeah, you can get down another layer, but the lighter colours struggle. And now I'll try the contrast and colour combination. I'll do the yellow first, the palest colour. So this is putting a layer down on top of the baby oil. And that's worked better. Yeah, that worked better. So I could use baby oil with these pencils and put another layer down on top of that to smooth it out, and it's worked quite nicely. Now I've put another layer down, it's smoothed out quite nicely, so I like that. I mean, these budget pencils work reasonably well with baby oil. So even though we peeled it out after I put the solution on, by putting another layer down, it looks much better. See how the zest works then with another layer. Do the greens first. Struggling with the palest colour. See how the darker greens do. Yeah, the darkest greens work okay with the zest, with another layer down. Struggle with that pale green though. See what the contrasting colours do. So this is another layer down for the contrasting with on top of the zest. And I think they work quite nicely. I mean, with the solutions for another layer down with these pencils, the contrasting colours work better. The zest always tends to make a nice vibrant effect as well, and it's still doing so with these hardcore wax pencils. The greens were fine with the darker colours, but when it comes to the lighter colours, it struggled. I tend to find when I'm using these pencils on bigger areas, I do tend to use zest to smooth them out, and I've always been happy with that. But certain colours, it doesn't work very well, so you have to put more layers down of the pale colours to get a better effect. I don't tend to use the white, and as you can see, it doesn't really work very well anyway to blend with this set of pencils. And I only use the Colorless Blender pencil if it's a small area, because again, it's not very good when it comes to blending. So I think these pencils are quite good. They're a budget pencil. I hadn't used them before, and I'd heard from them about them before, so I was pleased when I got them. Colours wise, quite good selection, though I could do with more pale colours. And they work reasonably well with solutions if you're actually using solutions to do your blending. So I hope anybody that's watched this has found this interesting. If you would, if you're looking at the Cadrim brand of pencil, and if you have any comments or hints and tips, please do leave them, or come and chat with me on my Facebook page. I'd love to hear from you. So I'll say bye for now until we get till I get another one up for another review of pencils.